What's going on, guys? My name is Brian, also known as that journaling guy, and welcome to my first ever book journal with me, because I started a book journal, and actually this is the last time I'm going to use this book journal, because in the process of making this review, I decided I need a bigger book journal because I could not fit everything that I wanted to fit. Anyway, get cozy, get comfy, because today we're going to be talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And by the way, this is going to be a full spoiler review, so if you haven't read the book or you don't care about spoilers, if you haven't read the book and you care about spoilers, stop listening now. If you don't mind, we're going to talk about all of everything, okay? The characters, the world building, how I felt about the book, and then the review at the end. And this is the first time I'm ever doing this, but I thought it would be a lot of fun because the reason I started this entire reading journal or this book journal was because I wanted to read more. And so I've kind of expanded the kind of books that I was reading. So this was one of the first books in that journey of exploration of genres that I'm not really used to. Okay, so let's do a quick little summary and then we'll start talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses. Why am I like stuttering? Wow, that was rough. I might actually cut that out. So let's start with a summary of the book of A Court of Thorns and Roses. So A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas is a captivating retelling of Beauty and the Beast, essentially. The story revolves around Pharah, who's a human huntress, and she gets entangled in this world of fae after killing a fae wolf. She's taken to this magical land by Tamlin, a high fae lord, as punishment. And there she encounters a bunch of mysteries and peril, and there's romance, and there's a whole unearthing of a plot that's threatening the entire fae realm. So then the book kind of melds this enchanting romance with a little bit of a suspenseful adventure while exploring themes of survival, self-sacrifice, and personal transformation. So I started reading this book in general because I saw it everywhere on TikTok. And when I mean everywhere, I wasn't even part of Book Talk, and I started getting I started getting recommended all these like ACOTAR books, and like it was like City of Glass, it was this, and I kept seeing all these little chilies next to them, like spicy. I didn't really know what that meant, okay? I didn't know there were spicy levels to this. I didn't understand, okay? This was my first introduction to the spiciness level of what is book talk and smut books. I had no idea, okay? And now for future reference, if you're going to say anything in the comments, I listened to this book with the graphic audio cast, which was really, really good. It was like an audio book or a movie in your head, like that one. It was very good. It kind of spoiled me because I feel like they're like other graphic audio books aren't like, they don't do a lot. And so the ones that they do, I'm not really too interested in. But man, those voice actors, they really know how to set up a scene. Anyway, just wanted to mention we are doing spoilers. Okay. Now, we need to talk a little bit about the world building, because the world building is what captured my attention the most and is what got me through some of the cringiest dialogue and cringiest scenes in this entire book. Okay, so the atmosphere in the beginning of the beginning third of the book was excellent for me. People say it's a little slow, but it was enough intrigue, enough mystery. Like I was intrigued by the idea that I kept listening. I kept going. I didn't put it in my DNF file, my DNF side, right? And albeit it's not a wholly original idea, the whole like fae world versus humans thing. It seemed interesting enough. It gave me flashbacks of like when I first read The Hunger Games over a decade ago. It feels like they had the heroine, and she goes up against a big bad evil guy, like all of them. But I was excited for the world building. Now, the fae in general are pretty much what you would think they're going to be. They're these beautiful elves, essentially, with animalistic tendencies, magic, and a superiority complex over humans and even themselves. And the thing is, even though they've been around for hundreds of years, okay, according to them, there's no real distinction like in the way that they think or process emotions compared to humans. So they were pretty much humans for me in my eyes, like for the rest of the book. I didn't really think of them as like super beings, but that didn't really matter too much to the plot, okay? Like they were just, they acted a lot like humans, and it didn't seem like they were these superior beings, okay? But Prythian, in general, I felt like was pretty well done. There was enough lore, enough intrigue for me to get through the first third of the book, which is where I feel like I saw a lot of people's reviews before I started reading. That was around the point where people dropped off. They said it was too slow. They said it wasn't interesting enough. I enjoyed it, but it also had been a really long time since I had read a fantasy book. So maybe, you know, another critique I kind of heard is that this is very similar to her other series, which is probably a good reason to put it down. But this is my introduction to Sarah J. Maas in general, so I have no complaints with the beginning of the book. I don't have a lot of complaints about the book in general, but we'll get to it. Now let's talk a little bit about the characters. Pharah is so bland and boring and as complacent of a character as they come, to be honest, okay? She just felt like she was this empty vessel where things start to fill up just to carry the narrative forward. She wasn't really interesting. There's nothing that really sets her apart to be the main character, except maybe being kind of beautiful herself. She doesn't feel like she's an active participant in anything that happens in the story, to be honest, okay? She's frustrating. She makes these very perplexing decisions. She's annoying. She doesn't know how to stand still. And like the best way to get Pharah to do something is to tell her not to do it, okay? And it was just one of those things where things just kept, I feel like I'm saying things a lot, I apologize. It was just one of those situations where things just happened to her, not because of her. Like she was very reactive instead of active participant in the whole thing, you know? And the whole painting hobby, like, great, you know, I'm glad you're being able to indulge in this hobby. Anyway, I don't understand first of all, the premise of what's happening in the very beginning. I'm a little confused, but her ability to complain about a life that's significantly better than the one she was living. Okay, like this character complains so much about being rich in front of very handsome, beautiful people and eating food that she never ever was able to eat ever in her entire life. She couldn't even imagine. She was experiencing things she never thought existed. Her family was being taken care of. Okay, which by the way, she hated. She resented them because she didn't even, like, they didn't help her with anything. She was the only one keeping them alive. All right, yet she's still complaining about how she needs to get back to her family, and this guy's taking care of everything for her. Why is she complaining? It's like she doesn't understand the consequences of her own actions, or maybe the fact that there were no consequences to the fact that she killed the Fey Wolf that was supposed to be the High Lord's, like, friend, essentially. Which brings me to Tamlin, okay? I liked Tamlin for a good portion of the book, for the majority of the story. I really liked Tamlin for, like, except the one scene where it got very weird and inappropriate. And I think if you've read the book, we all know what scene exactly, where he comes back from the ritual and kind of takes her. But, you know, there's a lot to be said about the writing there, Sarah J. Maas. But, you know, except for those moments of aggression, I felt like he wasn't that bad of a host, albeit, you know, Pharah never questions the fact that she's being taken care of the way she is. Like, quote unquote, her punishment is to live this glorious life of a princess, essentially, and she gets to do whatever she wants for the rest of her life. She's not even being held captive. Like, she can leave, she just can't leave to see her family, leave to the other side of the wall. Tamlin was good. Tamlin treated her well. Tamlin was doing the best he could, and then you realize why, because obviously he had an ulterior motive, but that's fine. I liked Tamlin, but I did not like him more than Lucian, because Lucian was my favorite character in the book. I feel like he had the funniest dialogue. in the entire book, he seemed the most interesting. Like, I wish they would have gone into his backstory a little bit more. Him and his eye, he seemed strong. And honestly, for a good portion of the book, I was kind of hoping something would happen with him and Pharah, because they did have much better chemistry than Pharah and Tamlin, in my opinion. I ship them a lot harder than I ship Tamlin and Pharah, but that never happens, which is fine, I guess. But he was a really good little side character. Like, I enjoyed his presence. I was excited when the voice actor did a great job playing him. Okay, when I was listening to the audiobook, I thought he was a lot of fun. And he's kind of a dick, but that's okay, because he has a little bit of a contradictory personality, because, you know, he's like, oh, I hate humans, like, you know, humans are the worst, and then he goes back to bantering with Pharah and like, oh, they're buddy, it's kind of funny. And I like seeing that progression. Like, she kind of starts to wear him down, and like, okay, they start becoming friends, and I like that. Then let's talk about the big bad evil baddie of the entire book, Amarantha, which is genuinely such a bad antagonist. I did not like Amarantha at all. It's like they try to build her up as like this super bad guy who was able to like hold down all of the Fey Lords and take all their powers, and they make you think she's pretty much invincible. But her motivations are so generic, they're so bland. She's predictable from the very first moment that you meet her. Like, she's supposed to be this brutal, sadistic villain, yet she bets all her power on a cliche, cheesy riddle for Pharah to solve in the trials. Like, come on, let's be real. She was just so boring. Everything was so superficial, and there was no complexity to her character. Tamlin didn't love her. That's it. She wanted revenge. That's essentially the nitty and gritty of it. Now, Rhysand, a lot of people didn't like. They thought he should go die in a hole. I liked Rhysand, okay? Because hear me out. Rhysand was one of the only characters that genuinely helped Pharah. He was one of the only people that, you know, he did some pretty fucked up shit, don't get me wrong, but he healed her at the cost of, you know, that bond. But he was helping her through one of the trials. Like, he was looking out for her more than Tamlin ever did, being Amarantha's bitch, like standing next to her and like not even making eye contact, blah blah blah. Oh, I'm not trying to show her how much I love you. No, you don't do anything for the woman you say you love. No, forget that. But Rhysand like gets way too much hate in my opinion. Now, let's talk a little bit about a lot of things, okay, in general. I'm sorry, this is not the most structured review, but these are just things that I need to get out of my head. That's essentially why I'm doing this, so I could talk about these books and kind of rant to you guys, and hopefully we can have a conversation about these books in the comment section, because this is why I want to do this. Now, this is supposed to be essentially a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which is nice, and I guess it's a little overdone, but Tamlin isn't even really a beast, okay? Pharah is constantly talking about how beautiful he is, even wearing the mask that's glued to his fucking face. Like, how could she not fall in love with him? There's literally no barriers for her to overcome here, okay? There's not. He's gorgeous, he's rich, he treats her right, they're attractive. Like, I don't get it, all right? You're living a life of luxury and freedom with a gorgeous, handsome, strong guy. Come on, like there's nothing that needs to be overcome here. And then we're never really told until the very end why Pharah is even brought right to the Spring Court and why she's kept there. But the curse is so weirdly specific that it kind of aggravated me towards the end, okay? He needed a human woman to fall in love with him, okay? Not only that, a human woman, a mortal girl, who hates the Fae so much that she's able to kill one in cold blood. And he has to wear a mask. And she can't know of the curse. Like, that's it. He has to get a mortal girl to fall in love with him who hates Fae. Why is that so weirdly specific? I thought that was That was really dumb. I'm not going to be honest. I hated that was the foundation the book was built on, and it annoyed the shit out of me. And then the other thing that really annoyed me is Pharah is so dumb. She is so dumb. The fact that she can't read, the decisions that she makes when she's supposed to be this like really capable huntress, okay, and then she's getting led by like this monster because she thinks that her family has come into the Fae world to save her, when she come on, like, the people don't even go out of their way to help her hunt. You really think they're going to put themselves in danger to go save you in the Fae world? No. Okay, it's really dumb. But most of Pharah's problems in this entire book just come from her own stupidity. Really. She's not really essentially going against anything extremely difficult, except when she puts herself in those situations, like, for instance, when she's sent home and she decides to go back for Tamlin. She's put in those trials because she's the one that searches that out. She's almost caught by this monster that looks like her father coming to save her because she's not listening to anybody. Okay, she sneaks off to the ritual when she's told multiple times, like, don't leave, don't go anywhere. She meets Rhysand there, blah, blah, blah. Like, Pharah, you are so dumb. 10 people could tell you to stay put, and she's just, oh my god, the decisions she makes are so perplexing. Like, Pharah answering the riddle the last second before dying, okay, one of the easiest riddles, it was love. Like, we knew it was love. Like, it wasn't a surprise. It was such a anticlimactic moment, okay, and then she dies. And then Amarantha loses all her power, and then, you know, like, she's destroyed by Tamlin, like, she gets wrecked. That was kind of satisfying, I'm not gonna lie. I like that. I was smiling like a loser. But wow, that was, oh god, it was so annoying. Pharah is not a likable protagonist, and I don't know if that's just me, but I really did not like her at all. If anything, I didn't really like the chemistry between Tamlin and her at all either. Like, the progression of stuff seemed weird. There was like no real timeline that was ever described about how long these things were taking, like how much it just felt like they were progressing. You know, they go from like she's not even eating to swimming in a pond or a lake of stars, and I don't understand. Very frustrating. But there was a few like moments that I really enjoyed in the book. So the trials at the end, I really liked it. It gave me the feeling of like the Hunger Games. I thought it was fun, the stuff she was going through. A few uncomfortable moments, like the whole Rhysand thing, making her drunk and then dance and everything. That was a little weird. When she captured the Suriel, I thought that was pretty, action packed. I thought that was really cool. The Naga coming out. I thought the beginning, the description of the Spring Court and everything that they were exploring, I felt kind of like a sense of fascination. I was excited. I thought it was really cool. I wanted to explore this place, this mansion. I'm like vividly imagining everything I think it could be, right? And then a moment that really had me choked up, I'm not gonna lie, kind of almost made me cry, was like when all the High Lords came together and they gave Pharah a little piece of themselves, like a little piece of life to revive her. Wow, I was touched. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I was welling up. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna survive. And then you realize like she's not really gonna die. Like, was she really ever in danger? No, she wasn't. Overall, okay, my rating for this book is going to be a 3 out of 5. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was great. I don't think the writing was anything new or different or spectacular. The story in general wasn't new or spectacular or anything. I think it's a little bit overhyped, but I definitely enjoyed it enough for me to want to read the next one. So the next time we come back, hopefully things pick up a little bit and we see where it goes. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that little rant of A Court of Thorns and Roses and what I thought about the book. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about, anything that you want to add, any questions that you might have about how I felt about a certain thing in the book, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this kind of content and you want me to do it more often, leave a little book emoji in the comments, and I'd love to know if this is something I should keep doing. I love having a place where I could talk about like media in general, so like books and movies and like reviews, and kind kind of express it in this way of doing a little book journal with me. You guys can see what I do. Overall, I thought this spread was okay. I just realized I need a bigger book and a better book. So I'm going to be setting up a whole new reading journal just so we can do this a little bit better. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.